Ego scendere.
This video is just for entertainment. Ego Ascendere does not give any science-based training advice. We only express our opinions about fitness.
This episode, a fun squat variation, chin-ups and man-makers. He prepares for the squat variation by squatting with an unloaded barbell until he is warmed up.
He struggles with so-called butt wink in the bottom position of the squat. It's not that pleasant to do butt winks when the barbell is heavy loaded.
I think butt winks are ugly.
The middle-aged guy in the video has tried all kinds of mobility exercises to get rid of the butt wink.
Is that supposed to appease me?
Give him a break, please. He mixes high bar and low bar squats in the warming up.
How often does he train this squat variation that he is warming up for?
Once per 4 weeks. He does one squat variation per week, so next week it will be another variation.
I think his butt wink starts to look slightly less ugly as the warming up progresses.
He is more of a deadlift kind of person.
So why doesn't he deadlift instead?
He did try to deadlift 3 times per week for some time ago.
Didn't that work out well?
Initially it worked out very well and it was awesome. He learned to deadlift quite well during that time. Initially he only did a few singles at about 80% of the maximum weight he could lift for 1 repetition per workout. That worked very well, and he progressed slightly in terms of how much weight he lifted. He felt super good in his body at that time. But he missed to challenge himself with max out sets. And he decided to add max out sets to his deadlift 3 times per week routine. That proved to be too much. Instead of feeling awesome, he felt beat up.
So in order to be able to do max out sets, he mixes squats, deadlifts and other lifts into his training.
Still, it is not possible to do max out sets with squats and deadlifts every week. At least 1 week out of 4 must be a so-called deload.
Does he have to rest completely from squats and deadlifts during the deload week?
No. He usually performs technique training with up to 90% of his 1RM during the deload. Just stay clear of fatigue, muscle failure, and having to psych up before the lifts, and everything usually ends well.
He has added a couple of plates to the barbell. But it is still only ramping up before the main event.
Some coaches want warming up and ramping up sets to be at a minimum. Just enough to prepare for the main events. They don't want so-called garbage training.
It is time for the main event. 3 sets of 8 repetitions of rubber band attached kettlebell squats.
Garbage training would be training that needs to be recovered from, but that does not stimulate hypertrophy or strength gains.
How is this squat variation compared to low bar squats?
It is quite similar, actually. It puts some more demand on stabilization due to that the kettlebells and the rubber bands start to bounce if you move in an unstable way. It is a slightly more challenging variation per kilogram loaded barbell than the low bar squat. He would add 10 kilograms more weight for 3 sets of 8 repetitions of low bar squats.
Not counting the weight of the rubber bands, that means adding 10 kilograms to this setup of 50 kilograms barbell with plates and 2 kettlebells of 12 kilograms each, for a grand total of 74 kilograms in this setup. Speeding up the second set, this takes forever. Speeding also the third set. Time to max out chin-ups. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now, the final. This sequence of moves is called a manmaker. It is fun to decide for a number of repetitions of manmakers and try to beat your best time. The manmaker starts with dead lifting the dumbbells, then curling them, then pressing them overhead, then putting them to the floor and jumping out to a plank position and rowing the dumbbells one at a time. The manmaker is not a strength move. You could test your 1RM in the manmaker. But to us it seems much more fun to do a set of a sequence of manmakers. The guy in the video likes to do a set of 12 manmakers. He uses dumbbells at a weight that is about 70% of what he could clean and press for 12 repetitions. At about repetition number 8 it becomes clear why this sequence is called a manmaker. Now entering manmaker number 8.
The chin-ups before were performed with the grip at an angle between a neutral grip and the palms facing his face. This makes the chin-ups very arm dominant and not so much back dominant. It is also the grip that puts least strain on the elbows, in our opinion. The guy had problems with golfer's elbow for several years, and chin-ups and pull-ups always increase the pain. He tries not to do stuff that could lead to joint issues like golfer's elbow, which means he works on his mobility between the workouts. And he goes to failure only once in 4 weeks per exercise. Except squats and deadlifts, which he does back offsets for twice or 3 times per 4 weeks. Though he has been thinking that he should only do back offsets also for squats and deadlifts once per 4 weeks.
I'm sure his joints will thank him for thinking he will do less back offsets. He is not going to beat his personal best time for manmakers today.
No, it looks like he will finish almost 45 seconds later.
He is almost exhausted already. And instead of strict presses, he does push presses. This completes manmaker number 12. If I counted the manmakers correctly, there are 12 manmakers completed. What? He continues?
He lost count again, of course. Happens all the time.